What is the real value of youth ministry? Our guest will tell us all about that here in just a bit. Welcome to the show. I'm Daniel Daup, and this is For Your Sunday Morning Drive, the short podcast with the goal of providing some motivation, drive, and encouragement, and helping you recenter your mind on those spiritual things on a Sunday morning just like this, or whenever you listen. Our guest today is Josh Wade. Josh is the youth minister at the 9th Avenue Church of Christ in Haleyville, Alabama. He's worked with Western Kentucky Youth Camp for several summers as an intern, and when I asked if there was anything special I could share with you today, Josh specifically called out both Western Kentucky Youth Camp and Maywood Christian Camp as great places to send your kids. I really appreciate Josh for taking some time out of his busy summer to contribute to the show. As you're about to hear, he did a fantastic job with his episode. It's my prayer for you today that you listen to his heart as it comes through his words. And if you maybe have been critical of youth ministry in the past, I hope you take some time to reevaluate. Josh, thank you for joining us. This is episode 120. One teenager can change everything. Let's go to church.
Are we there yet?
I love being a youth minister. Teenagers can be a lot. They can be loud, they can be busy, they can be unpredictable, and yes, they can test our patience. But I don't love being a youth minister because of all the games, the trips, and the retreats that we do. I love being a youth minister because I believe there is something incredible sitting inside of every teenager today. The next generation of elders, preachers, Bible class teachers, missionaries, faithful moms and dads, they are all sitting in our youth rooms today. And if we can help them develop a faith that is real while they're young, there's no telling what God can do through them for decades to come. One of my biggest concerns about Christianity is that it becomes so easy to settle for being spiritually average. We convince ourselves that if we go to worship, we go to Bible class, we read a verse or two during the week, and try to avoid the really big sins, then we're doing okay. And so over time, Christianity has evolved into a checklist. But Jesus never called us to a checklist. He says, I want you to deny yourself, take up your cross, and follow me. He never intended Christianity to be a performance where we simply act the part of a Christian. He intended being a Christian to completely transform our hearts. Romans chapter 12 and verse 2 says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Transformation changes how we think. It changes what we do. It changes what we pursue, what we love, and who we become. Jesus tells the church of Laodicea in Revelation chapter 3, I know your works. You are neither cold nor hot. He's talking to a group of people who had become comfortable. People who were religious enough to keep showing up, but not passionate enough to truly live for Him. And if we're honest, that's one of the greatest dangers facing Christians today. It's comfort. It's easy to become satisfied with the phrase, that's good enough. That's one of the reasons I love being a youth minister so much. Teenagers are at a stage in their life where their faith is still being shaped. That means that every conversation that we have with them has to be intentional. Every Bible class, bus ride, devotional, campfire, youth rally, service project, every conversation matters. Those moments may seem ordinary, but often those are the moments where God is doing extraordinary things. I can honestly say that youth ministry shaped my life. My dad was my youth minister, so I've been around it my entire life. But it wasn't just because he was my youth minister. It was the youth group. It was seeing older Christians and other teenagers who weren't perfect, but genuinely loved and wanted to follow Jesus Christ. Those experiences showed me that Christianity wasn't just something you did on a Sunday. It became who you are. And that's exactly what I want to help create for the next generation. I don't expect every teenager I work with to become a full-time minister. But I do hope they become Christians whose faith is real. Christians who love Jesus enough that it changes the way that they date, the way that they talk, how they treat people, how they raise their future families, and how they serve in His church. Because one teenager who catches fire for Christ can influence hundreds of people over the course of their life. That's why I would encourage every parent listening to this, don't underestimate the value of a youth event. I know that life gets busy, and sports are demanding, and school is overwhelming, and schedules fill up fast. But every time you prioritize opportunities for your kids to spiritually grow, you're making an investment that could last forever. Sometimes parents ask me, is that youth trip really worth it? And I would answer it with another question. What if that's the weekend that your son finally decides to make his faith his own? What if that's the retreat where your daughter realizes that she's not alone in her struggles? What if that's the camp where a conversation with a counselor changes the direction of their life? You simply never know. Some of the biggest spiritual decisions people make happen away from home, surrounded by other Christians, studying God's Word together. Those moments matter. At the end of the day, youth ministry isn't about keeping teenagers entertained. It's about making disciples. It's about helping them discover that following Jesus isn't a checklist to complete. It's a life to surrender. My prayer is that our churches never settle for producing lukewarm Christians. Instead, I pray that we raise young people up whose faith is genuine, who love Christ and their love for Christ is contagious, and whose lives point others to Him. Because when one young person, catches fire for Jesus, there is no telling how many lives they may impact for the kingdom. That is why I love being a youth minister.
Josh shared some fantastic thoughts today. Now, it's time to talk about them. Our discussion questions for this week are, who invested in your faith when you were younger? And how did they impact your life? Parents, do we take our kids' involvement in youth ministry less seriously than the secular things in life? And how can our congregation better encourage and invest in the next generation of Christians? Oh, and here's Evelyn with this week's kids question.
Who is someone that has helped you learn more about Jesus? And what have they taught you?
Hey, thanks for listening. Thanks for taking time out of your week to listen to us. Get your kids involved. It'll make a world of difference to their faith. Let's work for Jesus and change the world together. Keep up the work. I'll see you Sunday.
We're here.